One of the reasons my keynote has been so successful is I hit the visual learners, I hit the auditory learners, I hit the kinesthetic learners throughout the process.
Hey, I'm Kenyon Salo, and I can help you share your message more effectively with larger audiences because I've spent my life traveling the world to impact lives while mastering the craft of speaking.
My question was about stagecraft. So my speaking style is slower. I don't bring a lot of humor, and I don't bring a lot of energy. I'm noticing that some of the most successful speakers are bringing a lot of energy, and they're breaking it up with humor. They're breaking it up with activating the audience by getting them up, down, activating the audience by asking them to do something, to interact with each other. Can you speak to some other forms of stagecraft that could help to control the audience without needing to bring as much energy or needing to bring that high level of humor?
Absolutely, 100%. What I'm going to share with you is one of the number one things that I teach that most speakers don't know about. It is the ability to understand both personality types and learning types. Keith has brought up a great question, and maybe you can hear, and Keith, maybe you'll notice that my tempo has changed, my tonality has changed, and I am now connecting with you at where you're at. You see, Keith, most likely, and I would have to have more of a conversation, but based on what you've told me, that you're not about high energy, but that you still want to connect. And connect is a very important word because it's a kinesthetic word. And so Keith is probably more kinesthetic in terms of a kinesthetic learner. Now, there are three types of learning, and maybe you've heard them. There are kinesthetic learners, there's auditory/cognitive learners, and then there's visual learners. I am a visual learner. You can see my hands and how I talk at a high speed, and obviously with our time compressed, I come from the visual side because I want to share this information. The thing is that there's also the auditory or the cognitive learners. And most of the time, if those are speakers, those are the ones that are educational. Those are the ones that have a lot of data and they want to be able to share what they've learned in their knowledge. And that's amazing too, because there's an absolute place for that. So Keith, what I want to share with you is that I understand that you're a kinesthetic learner and or giver/speaker. So there is an absolute market/niche for what you want to do. So you can take out of it saying, hey, I'm having trouble trying to be like all these other speakers. Let's rewind to what I said in the beginning of this, where I said, I just want authenticity. When you're 100% authentic, now I can't say the word, authentic, your authenticity comes out to the audience. They feel it. They can't call BS on you, and there is a market for that. And so ultimately, that's the thing. And so when we understand our audiences and understand that our audiences have an amalgamation of these three areas, one of the reasons my keynote has been so successful is I hit the visual learners, I hit the auditory learners, I hit the kinesthetic learners throughout the process. I make sure that I hit the four personality types, the leaders, the fun people, the family people, and the data people. Now, I will say for sure, I'm not a speaker that does well in front of a whole room of engineers or a speaker that does well in front of a whole room of attorneys. It's not my strength, but that's okay because there's not just one pie, there's lots of pies. You find them and then you just make it work. So Keith, I'll ask you, how close am I on the kinesthetic? And Alex will unmute you and you can share what you got out of this.
You hit it right on the head. That's exactly where I'm at.
So that's perfect. And so these techniques, while they take a little while to learn, and look, Tony Robbins helped me learn some of these techniques back in the 90s, but I read more and I learned more about it. But if you're able to connect that quick with your audience, or when you're on stage and you can feel the energy and you're like, oh, I need to shift here, I need to pivot because the audience is not responding, and so you pivot, you can still make an amazing presentation because you're reading your audience in real time while you're continuing to speak. So Keith, thanks for that awesome question. And, I had a 33% chance of getting it right. So, it's not like I'm magic or anything there. So, but yeah, thanks.